welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the podcast, to the Survivor Buffs. Sorry, that totally screwed up that intro.
Welcome, Merge Maniacs. Let's do this.
Yeah. Come on in. We're going to be discussing episode 8, Betraydar. As I always say, who said the title of this episode, Drew?
Dude, I love new words for one, but this was Xander.
That's a good word.
Man, it's a good word.
How has 41 seasons happened and no one's came up with that word? That is kind of surprising. Yeah.
I feel like it might have just been edited out somewhere because, like, come on, man. It's like,
gotcha.
Oh.
And so we start with every way an episode should start, in my opinion. The coming back from camp, the whole night vision, and a lot of things get spilled.
Yeah.
Tiff starts talking to everyone. Evie starts going on an apology tour. Xander realizes he can't trust Tiff or Evie as much as he did 2 hours prior. But
I mean, like, yeah, I respect Tiff's game, like, but like, she tries a little bit too hard to just like whip up suspicion.
Yeah,
if she was a little bit more subtle, I think it would be better. But she did. But I mean, here's the thing, man. Like, I really think she's more aware than me. Like, she's got her eye on the prize. She's on the ball. She knows, like, I either need to get in front of this or behind it. And she's always trying to be in front of it. I think she's a good player.
What did you think? Because Deshaun had a line where, because Tiff talks to him and Evie talks to him, and then he has a talking head where he's like, no, screw them. Like, they just tried to vote me out. I'm not going to work with any of them. I didn't like that from Deshaun. I think you should always be open and never, like, vengeful, because you might need an ally down the road.
Well, if there's anything I've learned, and I don't know that I would have the emotional wherewithal to actually do this if I was playing Survivor and hungry and sad and feeling betrayed. But I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong, Dave, but it seems like it's pretty rare. Like, if you're on the bottom one vote, to be on the bottom the next vote, like, usually the landscape, something happens. There's a magic to Survivor where it shifts. And you might have been like, you think, oh man, like, you're going to get voted out this vote. And then that doesn't happen. And then the next vote, it's like the priorities, like the happenings of, like, what's been going on, the intertribal relations, morale, the challenge, advantages, idols, etc., etc. Like, have there been many seasons, if any, where it was like, you just knew who was getting voted out for like 3 or 4 episodes in a row?
Well, the closest I can think of where that's happened would be like one tribe gets picked off and emerge because they don't have the numbers, so you can kind of one of this other tribe's going home, right? So that's probably the closest I can think of.
Sure.
But as soon as a player knows they're on the bottom, that's when they start scrambling to get themselves out. So very rarely have I seen a player on the bottom know they're on the bottom and just stay there for a couple of votes. You're right, it doesn't happen very often. But once you realize you could have went home the next day, you're in repair mode trying to make sure you're not the next one. And if people are good enough, the whole thing can switch.
I just feel like it always seems to switch. Like, it's almost like a little bit of at least, and maybe it's because I've only watched like 8 to 10 seasons of the show, right? Or like, so 25% of the show. But it always seems like even the person that's like second from the bottom, like next week, it's just the landscape seems to shift so quickly. But anyways.
Yeah, totally. Well, it kind of shifts in this episode a lot.
Oh man,
which we'll get to. So then we go to the challenge, but it's a bit of a different start to the challenge because Jeff is doing another one of his talking directly to us, the audience moments.
Oh, yes.
Reveals that he's going to hide a secret advantage on the bench. And he says, when you think you're on the bottom, that's exactly where you want to be sometimes in Survivor. Because, like Erica getting the advantage when she had to spend 2 nights on Extinction.
So what are we talking about here? And I because I didn't completely understood it when I watched it, but now you're talking about it, I'm thinking about it. So is this meant to be a secret advantage, possibly for the player that has to sit out and has no? Oh,
so if you
okay.
think you're screwed, double check your surroundings a bit. Maybe you're not as bad as you think. Maybe you're not as far off.
How is anybody gonna know that, man?
I
mean, it's
know,
good, but
I know.
like, it's savage.
I know.
All right.
Okay, so
It's
the
cool
teams.
though. It's cool.
The teams are as follows. They've got the blue team and the yellow team. So the blue team is Ricard, Evie, Danny, Deshawn, Xander, and the yellow team, Nasir, Tiff, Heather, Liana, and Shan.
Yeah.
Erica gets the gray rock again. She has horrible luck pulling rocks out of bags.
Or
but
does
Xander,
she though? Is that almost
two
not
in
the
a row.
winning rock in a way?
Well, I guess.
Well, the hourglass worked out. What comes after the hourglass?
Well, I mean,
what comes after the hourglass?
What do you mean? What comes after the hourglass?
Well, she got a gray rock, right? She's like kind of the odd person out, or like I don't know.
She didn't get voted out, so the rock technically wasn't that bad. But I wouldn't want to spend 2 nights on Extinction by myself. That would suck.
No, but the advantage she got kept her safe, and
that's a good point,
right? It kind of made the game interesting, and so I don't know. Like, yeah, I was literally thinking that. I was like, okay, oh man, she 2 gray rocks, but what's going to come of?
Yeah. Well, you don't even know what the advantage was. You have no idea what kind of advantage it was.
No.
Like, we'll never know.
No, I know.
So what do you think of let the people know what Xander does next here? Because I thought it was very clever.
You're gonna actually have to lead me on this one.
Oh, he switches places with Erica. He's like, yeah, I'll take her place. I'll be on the sit-out bench. Yeah. And Erica's shocked by this, and I was like, that's a bold move.
Well, because honestly, I was still in the mode of like, if you're sitting out, maybe there's going to be some kind of secret Jeff in the night because you sat out, just like Exile Island. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was right away. I didn't realize the impact of his decision, but I definitely had the feeling right away. I was like, oh, that's probably smart. There's probably something going on there. And he was like, no, I'm gonna make sure I'm the odd person out to get the weird visit from Jeff for the hourglass.
Exactly.
Right?
I can handle it. I can.
That was what was going on in my brain, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I see. You know.
I might have thought it would have been Exile too. So yeah, Erica switches places with Xander, so she ends up being on the blue team.
Yep.
They did show Xander looking around the bench when he was sitting out, doing kind of like, oh, do I see anything right here? Didn't look hard enough. Did not look hard enough. Every time he did looking around, I was praying for him to win, to find that advantage. I was gonna be like, man, if he gets this, it's gonna be like the smartest move this season. So yeah, very good challenge. Swim in the water, collect puzzle pieces, build a puzzle. This was, let me just double check. What was? Oh yeah, Edge of Extinction is where. Oh no, that's the later one. This one, the puzzle pieces. So yeah, swim through the water, get puzzle pieces, build puzzle. And I guess Evie's been practicing
with peas at home.
Yeah,
love you, Evie. Yeah, man,
does it in no time. Unbelievable.
I mean,
I was very impressed.
Yeah, definitely. So fast.
Yeah.
It's like I think we hit a couple time trial benchmarks in Survivor history for both challenges this week. Is this possibly like fastest win or close to on a challenge? Like, do we know?
It's the record for this challenge. Yeah, for at least that puzzle.
Oh, really?
Okay. Edge of Extinction was the last time we saw it, and it took the team like I think. Let me read here. They don't have it timed, but it was noticeably longer than the other 2 tribes.
Yeah, I believe it.
It was the Lesu tribe from Edge of Extinction that could not figure it out. Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
I never quite think of, when you think about, I want to be on Survivor, I should train. I've never once considered like actually making my own versions of the puzzles just to practice, like a slide puzzle, practice the, some of those ones you have to do,
Well,
the
well,
balancing, the
dude, that's the thing I was thinking about last week's episode. It was like, Dwight Schrute would be super good at this challenge, like with the feet and the blocks, right? Like,
oh yeah.
like honestly, man, even if we were like really, well, I mean, maybe we might, but do you know how much time and effort that's going to be to like make yourself a lazy Susan that you can pile blocks on with
Yeah.
your feet at
Yeah.
home? And like the cardio, you'd probably just do like some lower, core exercises at the gym and just be like,
No.
well, I'm gonna make sure those muscles have some integrity and endurance. But I don't know. I'm actually gonna try and practice with dexterity with my feet. Like, how many? That's one thing I'd like to. How many individual challenges do they actually have? Like over the course of the whole thing? Like, how
Oh, I've
many?
never actually sat
Is
down
there
and count.
is
They
there
reuse a bunch, but
is there a wiki somewhere with the tally? Like, they've used this challenge 5 times. This one 4. This one.
oh yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I can look up individual challenges by their names,
Sure.
but I haven't found just like a list of every challenge that has ever happened. But this specific challenge has been used in what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 8 seasons.
Okay.
So 8 out of 41 times they've thrown this challenge in there.
All right. It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, big fan. So blue team ends up winning. Thanks, Evie.
Yep.
Then we go to a commercial break, and we get back to the Yellow Tribe having to go back to camp, and really sad about how they lost. They lost another food challenge. Shan cannot take it.
Well, I don't think anybody could take it. Just saying. Like, no one's gonna be happy about this. But yeah, Shan's not having a good day.
I did like how Xander was trying to like comfort her. He was like, I hate to see you sad. Like, that sucks, I did kind of like, because I don't really see Xander and Shan talk too much, so I kind of like that there is a little bit of a relationship there.
Well, so and I don't think we've really got to this yet, but you asked me like what Xander did, like changing places, right?
Yep.
With Erica, right?
He reveals he's just about to reveal why he did it, and I like his reasoning.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, you go into that, but yeah, I thought I agree with you. I thought the why was really interesting and well played, but
yeah, he says he wants to be around the losers. They're raw, emotional. He realizes everyone knows about his advantage, so he needs allies, and it's easier to make allies with the losers than the winners. So yeah, and I was like, that is very smart. That's a very good point.
Yep.
Like, he almost purposely lost that challenge or gave up on the reward just to make himself just not a big target. Like, he flew completely under the radar there. No one was even talking about him. Well, Liana was later, but
I thought it was smart. I thought this was kind of the first moment this year that I've really had that moment, like that moment with myself where I was like, oh man, maybe there's more to this guy than I initially thought. Do you know what I mean?
His day one, he talked a big game. Like, he talked about being smart. And now he knows he looks like a surfer dude and he doesn't look smart. But yeah, it did take him a couple episodes to actually prove that to the audience. But he talked a big game day one.
Or maybe it's just the way that they've edited it. But there's been a few episodes where they've made it really seem like, man, we're gunning for Xander. Yeah, we're gunning for Xander. Yeah, no, we're gunning for Xander. Do you know what I mean? We're gonna flush his idol. We're voting this person out. He's next, right? Like all that kind of stuff, and none of it's really come to fruition. So maybe it's just like the creepy music in a thriller movie in the background where I know something's gonna jump out at the end of the hall, right? But it just hasn't happened yet. But I just feel like they've made it seem like he's been hanging from a shoestring at times. And now he seems much more in control than initially alluded to, I suppose.
Yeah, fair enough. The other thing I completely forgot to mention, I didn't put this in my notes, but the puzzle, the Rebus puzzle was at that reward challenge. Right, the picture puzzle.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring it up on screen here.
I got peanut butter, and that was as far as I got. And then Dave helped me walk through. Okay, so hold on.
Chocolate. Peanut butter and chocolate.
How can you tell that's a cow? I thought it was a raccoon, bro. I thought it was a raccoon.
Okay, well, if it's not...
It's so short. Why is the butterfly and the fly so big? And the other thing, it literally looks like a mouse. No, no, bro. That's no cow.
Let's see. Secret other. Yeah.
Its tail almost reaches the ground.
That's my best guess.
Tails don't go that low. I think you're right. I think it's peanut butter and chocolate, and it's amazing.
That makes sense.
But I'm like,
put that back up.
There's always one thing in there that's like kind of minor confusing.
Yeah, I know.
Come here.
Making biscuits. So, do you wanna go into Papaya Gate?
Oh, dude. I do. I think you and I may disagree on this. I don't even know.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. So we got people that win the food challenge. They go and they eat some food.
Grilled cheese sandwiches, yum.
Yes. Oh, with a little Auburn browning. It's a grilled cheese. Yes. Okay. Anyways, if you're local, you'll get it. All right. Yeah, so they get food. Ricardo's one of those people. Part of they feel like they focus on two people, Ricard and Shan. But the people that are left behind that don't get the food challenge, they come up with some papaya. I believe thanks to Nasir.
Nasir,
right? He's my boy. So pretty rad, right? Obviously, a little bit of a victory for them, like their consolation prize. They're obviously feeling left out, feeling on the bottom. It's a little bit of a emotional, physical solace, and they're doing their thing. And the crew from the food challenge comes back, one of them being Ricard, and Ricard's like, oh, papaya, fresh papaya? Can I try some? And has some. And Shan's like, bro. And honestly, that would be me. I'd be like, dude, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Like, kick rocks, man.
Doesn't even ask. Just reaches down and grabs it. Like, I think he asks, but still grabs one anyway. Like, he's not technically. If you don't wait for a response, why ask? If a no doesn't matter.
So here's the other thing too. Sorry, I'm just wrangling my cat over here so I can pet her easier. There's a moment with like a little kind of a sidebar where he like does like a little sneaky like looking each way like
yeah.
I think it was kind of I don't know. I think it was almost a bit of a Sandra move where he was just trying to cause dissension, right? He's trying to get under Shan's skin, trying to rattle her. I think he was ignorant, but a little bit of a good play. Like, there's no rules, right? You can bluff with fake idols. Yeah. It's like, what was the season with the dudes just sneaking off and eating coconuts on their own?
Oh, that was Jarvis and Tyson.
Right? So, yeah. I mean, same
coconut
thing.
Buddies. Yeah.
Same thing, man. Like, I don't know. Can we reference like TV shows on our channel? Like, what are the copyright rules of like?
You can mention it. It's fine.
Okay, so like I'm rewatching Seinfeld right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we're at the point where Costanza literally just decides to do the opposite of like every impulse he ever has, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like that would be what I would have to do to play Survivor. And my impulse in this situation would be super polite and be like, "Oh, that's awesome! Congratulations, you guys got some papaya. That's great." And what I really should do is roll in like Ricard, take a piece, and stir the pot, get some feelings going. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a strong move. It's gonna, but I think it was the right move.
Mark my words. I think the only way Shan or Ricard are leaving the game is if one of them blindsides the other. It's the only way. And one of them will blindside the other. It will happen.
I'm gonna go further than that, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be like a what do they call that? A loyalty check vote, where it's gonna have to be like, you know, whatever crew one of them gets in with, they're gonna be like, yeah, your other needs to go. There needs to be no doubt. Like that blood versus water season.
And where his devoted her mom. Yeah.
And I believe I predicted that in episode 2 this season.
Okay. So after Papaya Gate, I mean, yeah. I just, as soon as I saw that happen, I'm like, I got to know exactly what to call this in my notes. Papaya Gate. Done. Good job, Dave.
It's like when Sandra, what was that one about? Like it was a return season, and sugar. It was something all the sugar, Michaela or something.
Yeah. Michaela wanted.
I feel I just had that same vibe. I was like, okay,
but Sandra did it like looking right at the camera, like she was like she knew. Yeah, that was great.
Well, it's a fast-paced season. We might see some of this stuff later. We have had a few moments this season, and props to Survivor and producers and Jeff and everybody on the team, but some late reveals, like when we found out Nasir, right? When all the idols got on. So I think we're in store for some more of that and bigger and better, to be honest.
Okay.
Just my vote, but I wouldn't put it past them, especially with how like kind of bang pow this season has been.
Yeah, like JD said, it's injected with like jet fuel.
Yeah.
So now we get to my favorite part of the episode.
Okay.
Before the next immunity challenge, Jeff has an offer for the tribe. He says if one person wants to quit out of the challenge, just don't even compete, no shot at immunity, I'll give you this little tiny jar of rice that'll feed you. You'll be good. Or if multiple people want to step out of the challenge and not compete and no shot at immunity, I'll give you this giant bag of rice that he says will feed everybody for 3 days.
Yep. Huge.
Shan immediately, or I think it's Heather, that's like, what does multiple mean? And Jeff's like, more than one. And so Shan's like, 2? Jeff doesn't even dignify this with a response. Love it. I should have taken a picture of his face where he's like, come on.
It was
Come
good.
On. What are we doing here? It was
good. It was good. It was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. So then Jeff fires back with 7, and it gets an audible gasp from the whole tribe. Everyone's like, 7? Yeah. Jeff's like, hey, it's a negotiation, right? Like Jeff felt lowballed too, so he's gonna come back and go super strong. Yeah.
It was so good, man. Like okay, keep going. And I loved every moment of this. It's like, yeah.
So Shan really tries. She goes, okay, how about 5? And Jeff goes, deal. Find 4 more people to join you. Yeah. Shan steps forward. Nobody's jumping in. Everybody doesn't feel safe.
She wasn't the woman for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
She I get it.
Took that role. She immediately went to try and do that. And yeah, I don't think Shan has as much swing as she used to. Like no one was really jumping on board.
So
and Nasir steps forward, goes, okay, well, I'll join you, Shan. Let's get 3 more people. Come on, let's go. Because Nasir's a generous guy. Finds Papaya. He wants to provide rice. Good guy.
Well, let's be clear. There are also 2 players that are clearly confident that they won't be voted out.
Yeah.
They're confident that they're not on the bottom. Like, I agree, a generous move by both of them. But one of the interests, I just want to say this as we go through how this breaks down. I think one of the very interesting things about what the producers and Jeff and again the team that makes Survivor has done has really, it shows you the people in the game that are confident. It shows you the people in the game that are kind of worried, right? Like it kind of gives you a spectrum of where everybody's at. Now, whether that's actually the truth or not, maybe it's a little bit more telling of like their inner confidence or unconfidence or whatever, right? Or paranoia or what have you. But anyways, rambling, but so Nasir second.
Yeah, Nasir second. Shan turns to Ricard. Ricard's like, no, I'm competing. And essentially Jeff's about to go, okay, no rice then. And Xander decides to step forward.
Yeah.
And goes, here, Jeff, how about 4 names instead of 5? And Jeff, which is rare. I like how Jeff explains himself here. He goes, yeah, if you can get one more person, that's the new deal 4. Now, normally Jeff wouldn't go down like this, but he explains himself afterwards by being like, I see that you guys know how difficult this game is, that if you guys really don't want to risk anything, I will drop it just to see.
Xander does say, I'll be number 4 if someone else is number 3. The way he words it, I don't know why, but
yeah,
but you're right. Yeah, Jeff does make note that he's like, yeah, okay, you guys get the gravity of the situation. All right, I can see the value of the currency here. We're gonna adjust a little bit.
Yeah,
and so Xander is technically third player off the block.
Yep,
and Ricard, now after being eyeballed before, comes in to save the day.
Yeah. So do you think Xander? Do you think Ricard like waited? Do you think Ricard tried to make himself look better by being like, okay, I'll help out? Well, like maybe Ricard's playing a bigger game than I realized. Maybe.
Well, so let's be real, right? The way Xander phrases it is, it's like, okay, I'll go in if somebody else, is number 4, right? Just the way he says it, even though he's going in third, he kind of tries to market himself. To appear right, and
of course, the 4th person to save the day.
Of course, Ricard goes in 4th, as the clinch guy, to be like, well, I was the one. Do
you think next episode he's gonna say, I'm the reason we got rice?
I don't know if you could. I'm not emotionally, intellectually mature enough, to I don't know, not being there. I don't know if that would win you any points or not. I don't know if that would, raise you up or sink you a bit. You know what I mean?
Wins you some points with Shan. Like we said, she was crying over no food earlier. Like her and Liana were all super sad. So it's got to mean a lot.
Well, I don't know.
And I think Ricard's the kind of person that would bring it up like that. I bet you next episode Ricard tells Shan, I'm the reason we got rice.
Well, okay, but let's be real. Like, do you think Xander is smarter than Shan?
I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say same.
I think Shan's a little bit more emotional, though.
Well, here's the thing. Like we talked about with the Nasir, like, keep in mind, we are just seeing the edit, right?
True.
I'm going to say, I think Shan is just as smart as Xander. And we got a little sneak peek into, Xander's like, yeah, I want to be, with the people that are on the bottom because, they're more pliable, more kind of, right, desperate, right, in a different spot. I think Shan sees that. I think Shan is playing it from a different angle where she's already there. So she's like hamming it up a little bit so that like what's that one, the Dennis Leary, like I'm an a-hole, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm gonna walk around in the summertime saying, how about this heat? Right?
Yeah.
I think she's got game, man. I don't think she's as vulnerable as she seems.
Okay.
Just I think it's a little bit of a
So, I mean, with that said, those four are sitting out. No chance at immunity. This challenge, keep on your toes. It has been used in 4 previous seasons.
Only 4?
4 previous seasons, yeah. Kagayan, Worlds Apart, Game Changers, and Edge of Extinction. So I was actually here. I'll explain the fact in a second. The record for standing on this plank of wood and holding a block of wood to another block of wood, that really complicated.
Yeah.
Was Spencer Bledsoe, but it wasn't from his second season that I thought it was from Game Changers. It was Kagayan, his first season.
It was what?
Survivor Kagayan was where he got
Survivor Kagayan?
Kagayan.
Cogging on? Like cogging? Like a cog?
Cagagyan.
Okay.
Cagayan or Cagayan is how it's pronounced.
Gotcha.
It's Brain's Beauty Brawn that season.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. A lot of older seasons just get called where they took place, not necessarily, it's easier to say Survivor Cagayan than Brain's Brawn's Beauty.
Right.
Makes sense. So yeah, an hour 22 minutes Spencer was up there. This challenge, however, went under 5 minutes. They were dropping like flies out there.
So that's one thing I think you pointed out when you and I were talking about it before, is just the stark difference. Like, not over 5 minutes, over an hour and 20 minutes. And then just the amount of, stamina that the players have, and just, how that is kind of scaling, like, this season versus other seasons, how it's so different.
Well, Jeff even points out the lack of food is really going to make this challenge difficult, because you can't do things you normally would do on an averagely full stomach. Like, just rice 3 times a day would be a difference maker in this challenge.
But like, I do have a question though. Is there any possibility, like, that's a monologue with Jeff, is that stuff that maybe gets recorded after they realize, oh damn, the challenge only lasted 5 minutes, boys? We might have to put a little segue in here, because people would be like, what? Because I was literally watching this challenge waiting for the time updates, like 35 minutes, 2 seconds.
Yeah, me too. Could you imagine if they actually did it? It would be 1.5 minutes, and then it would show like some sweeping shot of the sun and the heat, and then it'd be 2.5 minutes. It would be. I would have liked the Survivor editing team to do that, like 39 seconds. Just do their normal thing, but just completely scale it down because it was a short challenge. That'd be funny.
Well, or you could like just do a montage of like sunsets and sunrises for the first 14 days, like, and something like desiccating on the beach with no food, just withering away, and then go right into like, the good, bad, and the ugly, the high, like, right, and then just like them going into the challenge, like 39 seconds, just dying already. Dude, it would have been better to just have like cameras up in everybody's faces and just like,
there was cameras. Like, if you were to watch it back, there's a little tiny thing in front of all where they're all standing. It almost looked like a little tiny like raised piece with a camera in it. That's how they got the individual shots of all the survivors. Yeah.
But like, let's just watch like the first 30 seconds of every player, like over and over, one after the other.
Yeah.
And then and then the next 15 seconds of every player, over and over and over and over, and then like the next 15, and just like until it's just, like, it only lasts 5 minutes, but like, I wonder what the collective time of like everybody that lasted, like, what was so 2 players lasted all those 5 minutes, so there's 10 minutes right there,
total amount. Yeah,
or just like, I don't know, go back and forth, like,
speaking of 2 players, we got 2 challenged beasts, and Heather and Evie are the last 2.
Yes,
good job, Heather.
Yes,
kind of surprised me.
I'm not.
Really?
Do you see how peaceful she looked the whole time?
It's a good point.
She went
just meditating.
She went full Jedi, dude. And honestly,
Evie was the complete opposite. Evie was just like, you could see how difficult it was on her face. She was trying.
Honestly, like, I mean, like, look at who Heather is, right? She's older. She's a lady. She's a mom. Like, who else has more patience? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not surprised at all. I was like, oh man, yes, you do this. Like, I don't know. I was rooting for her the whole time.
Oh, really? I was rooting for Evie. So yeah, Evie manages to outlast everyone. Which, I don't know. I always, like a Cochrane winning a challenge, or I like some underdogs. Like, Heather would have been a good story too.
Yeah.
So they get back to camp.
You think Evie's an underdog?
I think right now she's an underdog. I'd be surprised if she makes it to the final 3.
Wow.
The only way she's making it to the final 3, in my opinion, is if someone takes her there. But I don't know if she's in the driver's seat right now. I think she's a passenger. There's maybe 4 or 5 drivers right now in the game. Everyone else is a passenger, in my opinion.
Okay, well, I don't know if I like that because I really like Evie, but we'll see.
I like her too. I don't know. She has to blindside one of the big players for me to be back on board with Evie.
Oh.
Make her own fake idol. You know, win a couple other challenges, and I'll be back on board. But she just feels like a passenger to me.
Yeah.
So we get back to camp, and Liana's got a new plan.
Yeah.
We're gonna flush out Xander's idol, and we're gonna send Tiff home.
Right.
Then the plan changes again and again. Let's see. I wrote down who's all talking. Right. Nasir says, "Oh, I feel really safe." And then it cuts to Danny on the beach with Deshawn and Shan being like, "Hey, we need to split it between Tiff and Nasir." Shan doesn't like this. Shan thinks Xander is who we should be putting votes on.
Right.
And she also says, like, Nasir is a vote in our pocket, right? Xander is not a vote in our pocket, or Tiff is not a vote in our pocket. So everyone wants to keep certain other survivors for certain reasons.
Sure.
So it is, I like seeing these kind of conversations because someone can be like, screw Nasir. And someone's like, no, I like Nasir. We need him.
I think Shan was, I feel like that comment about Nasir being a vote in her pocket or our pocket is going to come back to bite her in the ass or in the behind. I understand where she's going with it, but I think you're right. I think people like Nasir too much. You know,
I mean, he gets them papaya.
Well, but not even just that. It's just like he's, I don't know, like he's pretty upbeat. I'm sure sometimes people are like, "Hey, man, you don't need to be so upbeat right now." But honestly, it's better to be too upbeat than just melt into the background. Like, and he's a player, and he's got an idol, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like Nasir. Yeah.
And he provides, and he participates, and he tries, and he's not really, I don't know, like. At some point, I think if he were to win the game, he's going to actually have to blindside double cross. He's going to have to get some street cred.
Yeah.
But I like that he's not worried about that yet. He's just playing reserved and playing smart. And
he's just happy to be there. Just happy to be there. That's kind of his attitude right now.
Yeah.
But as soon as he blindsides someone, I'm going to jump off the couch and cheer. I'm going to be like, good job, Nasir.
Oh, yeah.
Just don't do it to Xander. What did you think? And I wanted to bring this up. What did you think? Because Shan and Deshawn have a bit of an altercation because Deshawn thinks voting out Nasir, and Shan's like, no, that's stupid. We shouldn't do that. And then Deshawn gets all mad because his voice wasn't being heard, and he didn't want to get steamrolled by Shan. I don't know. I thought it was a weird conversation. It made me kind of like Deshawn less.
I'm not sure what's going on here.
Because he's like, it feels like I'm being told what to do, and I don't want to be told what to do. I want my opinion to be heard. And it's like, okay, I get that side of it. Like, I'm not like insensitive to it that I don't understand that human side of it. Well, but I just think Shan is right. And so just because, like, it's like Deshawn has never been told he's been wrong before. Just seemed weird to me.
And so you might be right. I'm thinking two things here. So either Shan's right, and Deshawn's just being overly sensitive, and do you know what I mean? And not really thinking strategic enough, or this is a recurring theme where we've seen Shan and Ricard. Yeah. Well, we've seen Shan and Ricard butt heads, and Ricard stand up for himself and be like, well, where does that leave me? What are you doing for me, right? Yeah. And Deshawn maybe as a different personality, maybe he can see the same thing happening, but he doesn't have the, I can't think of the right word. I want to say
Patience?
gumption. No, gumption or the chess playing mentality
Foresight
to make a move to put her on the defensive. He's always just kind of like
that makes sense.
responding, deflecting arrows from her, maybe.
Right.
And he sees it, but can't
combat
get
it.
around the right.
No, that's very possible.
And I think it's one of the two. And I don't know where they're leading us, but I mean, I'm sure we're going to find out by the end of the season. But in my mind, it's a little bit of a question mark right now.
So essentially, a lot of people are throwing out a lot of different names. Heather's name gets thrown out there. Tiff's name's thrown out there. Xander, Nasir, because everyone's talking. Because now that Evie has immunity, it's like, what do we do now? So everyone's name gets thrown out there, and as soon as Xander gets told from Shan 4 different names, like it's going to be Heather and Tiff, and then comes up later, okay, it's going to be Nasir and this, and he's like, hold on, my Betraydar is going off. Oh,
and oh my god,
can we petition Webster? Can we get this in the dictionary? Somebody, please.
Yes.
Make a Wikipedia page.
Urban
Anyone who's listening,
my Betraydar. Yes.
And use Xander's exact quote from the episode for the context, sentence, use it in a sentence. My Betraydar is going off. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So Xander's on edge.
I feel like Beyonce could write a song about that. Okay. There we go.
So then we go to a quick commercial break, and we come right back to Tribal. This Tribal was a giant hot mess. It was
a medium-sized hot mess.
Jeff, okay.
It seemed like it was going to be a giant-sized hot mess, and let's get into it. But it was like a mess that boiled over in a small pot, and then it kind of got
But the boil was very entertaining to watch, in my opinion. So everyone's saying they're scared. Jeff even comments he's surprised they all seem super composed, even though you guys are all telling me this tribal council could explode at any moment. Yeah, you guys all seem super calm, and they're like, yeah, whatever.
Yep.
So Jeff is almost like really nothing's gonna go crazy here. Nothing. Okay, guys. Nothing. Okay. Time.
Nothing, honey.
To vote. And then Heather's like, hey Jeff, can I say something? Jeff's like, I could not have said that any slower. It's time to vote. I waited as long as I could.
Yeah.
Oh, Heather. She leans over to Tiff and goes, trust me, stay calm. Gets up and starts walking over who she talked to, Nasir. And she tries to get let's see.
Well, she tries.
Oh no, she doesn't talk to Nasir. She talks to someone else. She wants to change it to Nasir.
Yeah,
that's what she's thinking. Dumb play. There's not much more you can say other than she tries to talk to people. She tells one wrong person. The information gets back to Shan, and once Shan finds out what the idea is, she's like,
I mean,
Heather, just vote Heather then.
So hold on. Let's be real though. If you know Xander's got an idol, people must know. Do you think people know that Nasir has one? That Shan has one? How do they?
I don't know. I don't know if everyone knows about Nasir's idol,
right?
But there's probably a couple people that know it, right? Shan and Ricard both know it because they both read the note and know all 3 phrases. But I don't know how many people on Luvu know Nasir has one.
So here's the thing I'd love to know, and I don't know if Survivor can actually do this or not. But rather than next week on Survivor, I'd love to hear a little 1.5-minute blurb of what was going through Heather's mind, right, when she went into this. Because, part of it is
showing close-ups of Heather, and I was like, something's going to happen.
But here's the thing. We know Nasir's got an idol.
No.
And all the focus is on flushing out Xander's idol. wouldn't it be very smart to put a bunch of focus on fleshing out an idol, make all this hubbub about one person, and then blindside one of the other two, Shan or Nasir? If you had that information and you could line that up, that would be a very intelligent play. No?
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
If
for that to work,
Nasir or Shan got voted out at this tribal, this episode, would you not be a little bit like, oh, I'm not worthy. That was an awesome play. You would.
Yeah, I would.
You would
I
be
would.
excited by it. You'd be
I
like,
would.
that was rad.
But for a play to work in Survivor, is everyone has to be on the same page, right?
Well,
like,
no, enough people have over
right, but
50%
it just takes,
of the people have to be on the same page.
right.
Not all the people.
Okay, 51% of the people have to be on the same page.
Yeah.
But they have to be on the exact same page. Like when you decide at 3:00 in the afternoon, this is what we're voting, and then 5 hours later you're sitting at tribal in the dark and Jeff's asking you questions, you need to know those people aren't going to change their mind in that spot. Or it's a tough thing to do because Shan has an idea that she thought was right. Deshaun had an idea he thought was right. Danny, and they weren't really able to convince each other on the beach earlier on in the episode. So it's easier said than done, I guess. Like, yes, what you're saying is ideal, but it's hard to do. Hard to do. You got a bunch of strangers to vote for another stranger that you don't like. Yeah.
Is it that hard to do?
Survivor 41, yeah. I've seen it be easy and I've seen it be really hard.
To quote Sandra, as long as it's not me.
I know, but what if it's your ally? What if you're in alliance with that other person? What if it's that's why they had a whole season based around blood versus water. Like, what Survivor, is thicker, you know?
Survivor is like reverse bingo. Okay. Bingo. It's one person in the room that's going to win.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Survivor's the same thing, but the other way. Like, so, I mean, Survivor's like reverse bingo with musical chairs. Like, people are going to get like only one person's going to win in the end. Like,
but you have to step over people while being nice the whole time to get there.
Do you have to step over them, or do you just work beside them and they get picked off because that's the nature of the game? Like, it's not like, dude, like if you and me played Survivor, like, what are the actual odds that you and I would end up in the final three out of the possible? Like, it's disregard all the personalities and all the stuff. Like, it's just, you know, people are going to get voted out at some point, you know?
Yeah, but there's people in past Survivor seasons that have been vengeful about that. There's people that have been like game respects game. There's people that have been cutthroat and made it all the way to the end. There's people that have been Captain America and made it all the way to the end. Like, you can be a Boy Scout and make it to the end. You can be an evil person and make it all the way to the end. It's just, what strategy do you use, and will it work with everyone else's strategy? Because everyone else's, because if you think about it, you got 16 survivors on an island. There's maybe one person there that's crazy egomaniac that thinks they're running the show. There might be some quiet, timid person, but they also think they could run the show. So it's, how do you kind of fit into those cracks and exploit them? Or, you know.
Well, so can I throw out the definition of leadership?
Sure can.
So it was just an organization my brother and I came kind of with, and their definition of leadership was leadership is the art of influencing human behavior in order to accomplish the mission in the manner desired by the leader. Right. So, you know, we're talking about, you know, those people, and I can't remember her name.
Evie? Shan?
No.
Heather?
Well, nope. Not this
Erica?
season. Not this season. Not this season. Okay.
I named them all. That's all of them.
Are you able to get it? Are you actually able to get a jump to conclusions, Matt, on the internet? Because I need that for you.
Yeah.
Oh, anyways. Okay. So what it is like you get the Survivor players where they can be part of like voting a player off, but then still look forlorn when that player is leaving the game. Be like, oh no, oh my god,
I
no.
think I know who you're talking about now.
I had no idea. Yeah, the one about the advantage.
Sarah, the cop. Sarah the cop,
lady,
yeah.
But Sarah gets voted out, right? Or
no, the blonde lady gets voted out. See, I think it's Sierra that gets voted out.
Yes.
And ends up giving her legacy advantage to Sarah. Sarah even says, like, okay, all I have to do is act shocked when she gets eliminated, and she'll give me that advantage. She's like, oh no. And then it cuts their talking head back at camp, being like, I got it though, holding up the advantage to the camera. Yeah.
Bold move. That's so that's the thing. You have to be adept enough at like, like Shan, right? I'm gonna pat you on the back when walking you out the door, like,
right.
But
it's a difference in the strategy, right? Like, for example, Standra will eat all the sugar and blame it on someone else, but like Xander will give up his spot to try and get more rice for the group. So it's two different strategies.
I mean, Xander gave up his spot, like, I'm not gonna say it because like he basically he made a decision to put himself in a risky spot in the gamble. Like, he basically, like a blackjack game, he doubled down, being like, you know what, I'm gonna go full in, and I think by doing this I'm gonna come out ahead. And he chose to put himself in a vulnerable spot to build relationships with people. And I think it was super intelligent. Like, it was
super intelligent. I've just seen so many different strategies. Right?
Yeah,
there's people that have flaunted their idols out in public and just so confident and managed to get away with it. There's people that have tried to hide their idols and not gotten away with it.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I like Survivor, is the variety. There's not one way to play it. There's like 50.
Sure.
And they all technically can work. It just requires a lot of things to go right.
Well, it requires you reading because you're not playing the game, you're playing the people.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? To quote Harvey from Suits, if anyone's a Suits fan, right? You're not playing the game. I mean, he says playing the man, but obviously, anyways, take the man out of it, but you get it.
So everyone's talking around. News gets to Shan about the plan. Shan says, well, let's just vote Heather then. And then Deshaun doesn't like that plan. Deshaun goes into kind of baby mode again and just sits back down. And Shan's like, you know what? I'm gonna deal with this. I'm gonna solve this problem right now. Goes over to Deshaun, goes, okay, what is your opinion? I want your voice to be heard. And he's like, whatever, I'll vote for whoever you want. Screw it. You guys don't care about my opinion. Shan's like, okay, I'm not babying you. Walks back to the huddle and goes, okay, so who are we actually voting out? Deshaun doesn't want to do that. And so it was a giant mess. I really lost a lot of respect for Deshaun here.
Yeah, well, I mean, nobody really has predicted him as like a.
He could be final 3, but I don't think he'll win in the final 3.
But nobody's like, he could be right at this point. But up until this episode, was there any point yet this season where you're like, that guy's in my final 3?
No.
Right.
Well, like when I said drivers and passengers, there's every passenger that I can name, like there's like 6 of them, or no, 4 or 5 of them. I can picture them all at the final 3, but I don't think they get there by their own actions. I think they get brought to the final 3. There's people that will get to the final 3, and then there's people that get brought to the final 3.
Oh, okay. We're gonna have to do a sidebar about this. And let's just put a mental
pin in it. Yep.
Yep. I think every episode we should talk about that. Who are the people that are like at this point in the space-time continuum of Survivor season, whatever, who are the players that are getting into the final 3, and who are the players right now being brought into the final 3? And maybe we just do like a 3 getting and like a 3 dragged brought. Like, what's the opposite of a goat? A lion? what's the survivor term for not a goat and in the running?
I don't think there is a term for that.
We need to make one.
Goats are just the people that get brought to the final just to lose.
Maybe a crab.
Some goats technically have won. Like, I love Sandra, but the first time she won, I don't think she was considered a goat in that season. But because the other two people on the final three were so terrible, she got the votes. So I don't know.
Right. All I'm saying is we need terminology for what is the opposite of a goat. What brings a goat to slaughter?
Right. Okay. Yeah, we can find a term for that. Anyone wants to let us
hunter?
know in the comments down below. Hunter, yeah.
I don't even
Predator.
know. I don't know. I feel like we need to brand this before we even. All right. Okay. Well, you guys can send stuff, and
so
yeah, you guys will be the OG.
So finally, I mean, the votes are all over the place. I mean, you know, Heather gets 2 votes, Xander gets 2 votes, Nasir gets a vote. Like, it's all over the place. And sadly, well, not too sadly, I wasn't a big Tiff fan, but Tiff gets voted out.
Well, I mean,
do you have any questions as to who voted for who?
I mean, you could say all over the place, or you could say, you know, people are evenly divided. There's no strong faction on this one, which I kind of like. Honestly, man, like.
Well, there is a strong faction. There is, you know, Heather did get 6, and the people that voted for Heather, they're tight.
Right. But okay. So Heather got Tiff?
Heather got 2 votes from Evie and Tiffany. Xander got 2 votes from Danny and Nasir. Nasir got 1 vote from Xander.
Right.
And then it was Deshawn, Erica, Heather, Liana, Ricard, and Shan all voting Tiff.
Which was how many votes?
6.
Okay.
6, 2, 2, and 1.
You said Heather got 6 votes in the beginning with that.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
So Tiff got 6 votes. Now, how many votes before Tiff? Let's go back through it. So starting.
I didn't actually write down an order because here's the other thing.
Just.
Heather got 2 votes.
Heather, so 2.
Yeah. Xander got 2.
4.
And then Nasir got 1.
5.
Yes.
So 5 not Tiff and 6 Tiff.
That's right. So now there's 11 people left in the game. But it's unclear as to what's going to happen next episode because I was kind of surprised to see
because you had 5 votes and 6 votes,
yeah,
which is 11. But Tiff is gone now, so you got 10 people left in the game, right?
Oh shoot! Yeah, you're right. My math is bad.
Yeah, yep. It's good. Math is like that some days.
Math is tough. So I'm excited to see what happens next week. Not sad about Tiff going home. She was entertaining, but she was a person that I would consider getting brought to Final Tribal. I did not see her as a person driving, you know, with a steering wheel.
Honestly, I feel like Tiff is a person that I would very, very, very much like to see as a returning survivor in the show. I think she was 98% on it. I think in terms of like the outlook paranoia level, I think if she took like 20% off of like the you know what's going on, because I did, and I said it earlier on in the episode, I do feel like she had her kind of ear to the railroad tracks. I think she was being attentive, not a wallflower. She made plays. She influenced the game. And as much as I was like, oh, you're kind of shysty, like, you know, there is a part of me that's sad that she's gone. Like, and I wouldn't have been that mad if she won, you know, a little bit of like, you know, I don't know.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I like
she had every chance to be like Sandra 2.0, you know, but I did get a little bit of a Sandra vibe where she's like like seeing through people's lies, or, you know, she's kind of, she was a watcher She spectated. She was like, I know what's going on. Like I'm no fool. I'm paying attention. And I was like, okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
She just got too paranoid for her own good, but she knew what was going on. She wasn't like blinded.
Yeah. No. Oh no.
Like she knows more about what's going on than Erica does.
Yes. Than most.
Heather. Like,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She played a good game, and I would be happy to see her return.
Oh, you will. She's the first member of the jury. So you will get a final tribal where Tiff gets to sound off on the final 3.
Oh,
it's gonna
my
be
gosh.
good.
And she's gonna have and okay, and she's so observant. Okay, I'm gonna predict one of two things is gonna happen when they come down to it. Either she's gonna have thought too much like me, and it's just gonna get edited out, or her questions are gonna be poignant and like some of the best at the final go.
So do you want to hear Tiff's final words?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. It was such a terrible move there. 3 people sitting with idols, which is ridiculous. Which is ridiculous that I was voted out. It's gonna bite them all. They're playing a safe game, and I just wasn't willing to play the safe game. But I'm so grateful I got to play. Was nothing you'd ever think you were going to experience, and it's once in a lifetime, so I can't really be that upset, and I can't wait to be the first member of the jury. Oh,
I mean,
I'm excited for that final tribal now. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm actually excited for that final episode where Tiff gets to be like, screw you, you're awesome, screw you.
So that's a pretty interesting point, and something that I'm kind of like interested and surprised about. Can we go for 2 more minutes here?
Sure. Yeah.
So we've got Shan, Xander, Nasir. They have idols. I'm interested in the fact that Evie earlier on in the episode was like, well, I kind of just thought all those phrases were a little bit of a heat score. Like, I thought everybody would realize about this. Is this really something that's just going over everybody's heads because they're hungrizzle, right?
I don't think it's...
They didn't catch broccoli and trees and goats on AstroTurf and butterflies being dead relatives. Like, that, like, nobody knows. Nobody's worried about, like, because, I mean...
Xander's move did kind of make everyone a little gun shy, it felt. Like, Xander's move made everyone go, okay, it's not as cut and dry just flushing an idol out. It's not as easy as it was in previous seasons.
Oh, because with the fake idol.
Yeah. So Shan was telling Xander, like, vote for Xander the whole game. But the problem is, like we were talking about leadership earlier, Danny had different plans. Deshaun had different plans from that. And they were all trying to, influence the way things go. And so eventually... I bet you 2 idols are getting played at once on a single tribal council. Like, it's going to come to a head. Like, something's going to happen. But yeah, everyone knows Xander has the advantage, right? Like, everyone knows.
What's the history on that? How many times have 2 idols been played before?
Oh, multiple times. Haven't you ever heard of one of the best, tiny little story, one of the best things I've ever seen in Survivor? Top 5 favorite moments is Suri gets voted out without even receiving a vote, because everyone else plays idols and has immunity and is safe. So because Suri was the only... Oh, this was... I have to double check. I don't know it off the top of my head. Season 20 something. But yeah, she gets voted out at a tribal council with like 8 people left because everyone is magically safe. So there's no one to vote for but her. And so just by default, she gets... It's called idled out. Wow. Yeah. Doesn't even receive a vote. Gets voted out because everyone else is just safe by default. Yeah. That's savage. there's been some crazy stuff. Fair. There's records for who's nullified the most votes, who's played the most idols in a season. Like, who was it that played with her dad in the Blood versus Water? Blonde. What was her name? Shoot. Oh, I can't remember. Wigglesworth.
Oh,
yeah.
Wentworth and Wigglesworth.
Yeah, so she was it Wigglesworth? Wentworth, blonde? Whichever.
Yeah, there was two of them.
Plays an idol at tribal council and gets like 9 votes disqualified, and that's a record. No one's ever had an idol, knew they were on the bottom, and had everyone voting for them and played it. Like that's the most like erased by one idol is her in that one tribal. There's some weird Survivor records if you do some deep dives.
I believe it.
There's records for most times voted out in the season. It's I think 3. Ozzy was voted out 3 times because he had to go to Edge of Extinction and win his way back, and then he went back there again on purpose, and then he got voted out after the merge.
Something that we should focus on, like do a Did You Know episode.
Oh,
put some effort into it, but I think we could do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone, fellow Survivor fans. That's where we're gonna cut it here. Do we have the title of next week's episode? Yeah. Title of next week's episode: Who's Who in the Zoo? Who's Who in the Zoo? Yeah. All right. Well, you Merge Maniacs, keep your Betraydar on, and next week we'll see who's who in the zoo, I guess.